High up in the mountains, gold veins get eroded by rain and snow, which washes the gold down into the creeks, and these heavy metals travel downstream until they hit an obstacle, like huge rocks sitting in the middle of the stream. These boulders slow down the water flow, letting the gold settle and pile up behind them, making these giant rocks natural traps for catching gold. There's a father and son team who've been hunting gold in Alaska for over 10 years, starting out by digging open pit mines where they fought side by side in 100-meter pits, battling for every ounce, while also competing with each other.
The hell you doing? You're about everything I say.
After finding millions of dollars in gold, they moved their battlefield, and now they risk their lives diving into high mountain rapids to suck up gold. This season, Dustin is expanding the operation, with 2 teams joining forces to chase their biggest return ever. But along the way, they're going to face nature's counterattack. Because besides the usual floods, there are deadly landslides.
Run, run! Run, run, run! Get up here, guys, get up here!
Pushing them to the limit, all in pursuit of million-dollar gold.
And I guarantee you there's some big nuggets down in there.
More gold than we've ever found.
Nope. Bigger.
Yeah! These guys are awesome. But this is gonna put us to the test.
This is the 5th year of diving for Dustin and his crew, so every year when winter ends and the ice melts, they start a new round of adventure. The mining site they're opening this year is at McKinley Creek. To get there, they first have to trek 13 kilometers of mountain roads to reach Porcupine Creek. And from there, it's a steep climb where they have to hike up 600 meters along snowy trails just to reach their McKinley Gold Camp. The next day, they leave camp to scout the dive site, and a zip line is the only way to get to Dustin's claim, since this cable is strung across a canyon 83 meters high and spans 137 meters. Once they get across, it's just a short walk to the dive spot, which is right upstream from the waterfall in front of them. A cave tunnel next to the waterfall is the only way to reach the water, but the team has to cross a scree slope covered in snow just to enter the tunnel, so Dustin takes the lead to set up a safety rope for the crew. Watching this makes Carlos cringe, because the snow below is melting, and if an avalanche hits, it could drag Dustin right into the erosion pool below the waterfall. But luckily, Dustin reaches the tunnel entrance safely and sets the rope to let the members cross the scree slope one by one. After 2 days of climbing over mountains, the team finally reaches the tunnel leading to the dive spot.
What the? Dude. Oh, look at that!
But what they didn't expect was the tunnel being half the size, looking like the water level rose and flooded it, so the tunnel is half filled with sand and rock. Originally, it was 2.1 meters high, but now it's less than 1.2 meters, meaning they have to crouch just to get through. And to make things worse, the other end of the tunnel is blocked by snow. To see the whole mining area clearly, the group climbs up a snow slope where they find tons of snow on the hillsides on both sides of the creek. And it's going to take a while for that to melt. Even if they could dive, it wouldn't be safe. So this dive spot is basically a no-go, since the walls on both sides are nearly vertical rock covered in ice and packed snow. As the temperature rises, tons of ice could crash down into their mining zone at any moment, turning the gold site into a death trap. This deadly environment means the team has to find a new gold-rich dive spot fast. Dustin remembers last season when he went scouting for spots untouched by old-timers. He found a section full of giant boulders. Some rocks were as big as houses, so Dustin named this place House Rock. And because big rocks mean big gold nuggets, James even panned some gravel there and found 5 flakes of gold. The next day, led by Dustin, the team heads out to scout House Rock on the ground. And just like I said at the start of the video, they think these huge boulders might be natural traps for gold nuggets. Plus, the surrounding rock walls don't have ice hanging ready to fall. But the only problem is that mining here is much harder, since Dustin mined a similar boulder creek before and dug for 2 years straight before he finally hit the gold on the bedrock. To get that gold in 1 year, Dustin needs 2 crews digging at the same time. So Dustin is now recruiting members to build a second team to mine this place that looks full of gold. And the first person Dustin has his eye on is Scott, who is an old veteran that worked for his dad, Fred. Scott didn't want to be a temp worker, so his condition was that Dustin had to guarantee him a full year of work, which Dustin was happy to agree to. And just like that, the first member was recruited. Dustin thinks Scott is an experienced diver, and since he could tolerate Fred's temper, he can definitely handle Dustin.
Now, they still need 3 more members. Dustin calls up an old friend he's known for 6 years, Kayla. Kayla Johansson started mining gold in North Carolina when she was a teenager. Her grandfather was the one who led her down this path. For the past 2 years, she's been diving for gold in south-central Alaska all by herself.
You interested in coming to work with us?
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in coming up.
With the second team half recruited, Dustin and the gang returned to House Rock to set up the dive site. They set their sights on a platform across the creek. It can hold all their equipment. The problem is how to cross the river. The only way they can think of is to build a bridge. And Dustin needs to convince a helicopter pilot to do the job. To open up the House Rock dive site, they need a helicopter to fly the bridge in. Then, they have to drop the bridge precisely at the narrowest part of the creek. After that, they need to move all the gear to the platform on the other side. Finally, they have to set up a cable system on both banks to lower the suction dredge into the water. That's the only way they can hunt for that million-dollar gold. But building this site puts a huge financial risk on Dustin. Just the helicopter cost is $2,500 an hour. He has to dig up enough gold to pay off all the bills. While the helicopter is on its way, the crew races against time to pack the gear for lifting. This includes 2 suction dredges. The big one is Dustin's, and the small one belongs to his dad, Fred. Right now, they don't have enough manpower to run both machines at once. But the area at House Rock is too big. If Dustin doesn't add more divers, they might not finish. For this gold season, Dustin has bet his entire fortune. He's either going to make a killing or go bankrupt. He finds Wes to talk it over. He wants to see if they can modify the 2 dredges so he can send 4 divers down at once. To put 4 divers in the water, Wes has to install extra hot water systems and air supply systems on each dredge. This new setup will double the number of divers. 2 dredges, 4 divers total. Dustin is betting that more hands will help them reach the bedrock gold faster.
Now the pressure is on Wes. He says he should be able to finish modifying both dredges today and have the helicopter lift them to the site. Meanwhile, Dustin, Carlos, and James rush to the dive site to help the helicopter place the bridge. Wes and Scott stay at camp to handle the cargo hookups. The helicopter brings in a 12-meter-long beam weighing 500 kilograms. This is the bridge the team will use to cross the river. If the pilot doesn't place the bridge accurately, the whole thing will be washed away by the rapids.
Brother, right here! Right there!
So Carlos screams his lungs out to give the helicopter directions. The wooden bridge lands perfectly. Then the helicopter flies all kinds of equipment from the camp to the other side of the stream. The next step is racing the clock to set up the cableway so divers can get in the water. The next day, the new member, Kayla, arrives. Dustin picks her up and brings her to camp to meet the crew. While Dustin shows her around, the old members share their opinions. James thinks Kayla's a bit small, but maybe you can't judge a book by its cover, and she can handle the rapids. Carlos, however, is straight up worried. He wonders if this girl can pull him out of the water if he gets in trouble. Wes saved Carlos's life before, and James can save his life too.
You know what I mean?
Dustin wastes no time getting divers in the water. Kayla, who just joined, has to face the toughest diving zone immediately. First, she has to experience the high-altitude zip line. Kayla is a bit afraid of heights, but she summons the courage to overcome it. When she gets to the dive spot, Kayla sees the place where she'll be working for the next 5 months. This is McKinley Creek, fed by glaciers. The water temperature can drop to 0.5 degrees. It blasts out 18,000 liters of water per second. The current here is about 100 times faster than the creeks Kayla is used to. On top of that, she has to cross that deadly log bridge every day to get to work. It's only because other old miners wouldn't come here that there is more gold left. Next, they have to do the most exhausting job, setting up the cableway. Dustin's plan is to drill holes into solid rock and drive in anchors. Then they'll tighten a 91-meter steel cable between the canyon walls. After that, they attach winches and lifting pulleys to the cable. This is used to hoist the dredges and move heavy rocks out of the dive holes. This is the final prep work before hitting the water.
The team splits into 2 groups, where Dustin, Carlos, and Scott go downstream to find solid rock, since the cable has to hold tons of weight, while upstream, James and Kayla also find a spot. This is Kayla's first time drilling and installing anchors, while James just stands there grinning, because everyone who stays on the team has to prove their worth, and so far, Kayla looks pretty capable. But Dustin still wants to see what else she's got. The anchors on both sides are fixed, so now they have to pull the steel cable weighing 250 pounds into position. But after using all their strength to pull for half the day, they realize the cable is too short. This forces Dustin to delay the mining work by another day, because every day they don't dive is a day of debt. So to make money, they have to fix the cable first. The next day, they bring a spare cable and splice it with the short one. But just as they are about to hook the cable to the anchors, Dustin discovers a problem. One of the anchors Kayla installed yesterday is loose, which could cause the entire cableway to collapse. And knowing it was her mistake, Kayla goes over specifically to apologize to Dustin. Now all they can do is drill a new hole right next to it, and Kayla explains to Dustin that she just wants to understand the whole workflow, but Dustin tells her there is too much to learn. He blames himself for not checking Kayla's work earlier, so for the rest of the job, Dustin has other people double-check everything Kayla does.
Alright. I've gone over them twice, but if you want to check them. Is there something I can be working on?
Sorry, I don't know where to put you, just because I don't know what you can do. By the end of a week or 2, I'll know exactly what you can do, so.
Okay.
This makes Kayla feel like she's useless, and the tied-off cable still needs to be tightened to lift heavy loads, but if it's too tight, it will rip the anchors out of the rock. Now that the cable is up, they need one last thing, which is a fearless crew member climbing onto the untested cable to install the pulley system. So Kayla volunteers for the task to redeem herself and earn her place on the team. Kayla has to go to the center of the cable to install the system, which takes serious upper body strength besides just guts. But once she gets past the pipe clamps, installing the pulley gets easier, so she slides all the way to the center and installs the system. Doing this for the first time, Kayla completes the mission and gets the approval of her teammates, meaning another excellent member has joined this year.
Next, they put the dredge in the water because the gold is waiting for them, and the first dive of the season begins, with Carlos being the diver sent down today. The big question is whether there is gold under the rocks, but not long after, Carlos goes under, the creek water starts turning muddy, so they immediately pull Carlos to the surface, because when the water gets muddy, it usually means a landslide happened upstream. Carlos only dug underwater for 45 minutes, and the pit was less than 30 centimeters deep, so the sluice box is completely empty, and the team got nothing today. The gold here has historically been found on the bedrock, and right now they have only touched the surface, but Dustin believes they will find the gold soon. In the next episode, 2 more members join, and the team gets hit by a damn earthquake.